lousy company, but 5 minutes wasn't all that long to wait. I spent the time trying to remember everything I'd done in the preceding 24 hours. Having been arrested a few times myself, once for murder, I knew what questions to expect, even if my relationship with the murdered this time was safely remote. When Judy got there, she told me to step back out of the room the way I'd come in. She moved past me and got close enough to Bollings to squat down and confirm the obvious, reporting what she saw by way of a tiny mic clipped to her shirt front. Then she stood up and came out to the hall. Dead, she said. Is there any other kind? Maybe dead, but we're not so sure, which means I can wait a minute to call the paramedics. What do you know? She asked. Only what I already told you. Hardly knew the guy. You need to talk to Frank Entwistle. It's his job. What about the workers? Talk to Frank. I was only here to take some measurements. I do all the work at my shop. So nobody you know? I know some of them, sort of. She didn't have to say that most of the workers were Latino, and a good number of them undocumented. I knew Judy well enough to believe she harbored no particular bias toward any ethnic origin, but she was a veteran cop, well aware of the implications of a murdered rich guy discovered by Southampton's most disenfranchised people. Ernesto Mazzotti's on this job, I told her, remembering. I know him pretty well. Ernesto was a Colombian finish carpenter of Italian extraction who usually handled the installation of the cabinets and detail work I did for Frank and a few of the other contractors in the area. He was precise and conscientious, but I always tried to get him into that phase of the process. Frank usually obliged when he could. Is he here? Judy asked. I didn't see him, but this is his work, I said, running my hand down a piece of door trim. We heard sirens coming from outside, and Judy rolled her eyes, betraying her preference for low-profile policing. She escorted me down the stairs and out to the front lawn, where two more patrol cars, lights blazing, were pulling in. A heavy-faced cop with a substantial beer gut jumped out of his car with surprising agility, his eyes searching the scene for imminent threats. Judy approached him and explained the situation, her prerogative as the supervising sergeant on the scene. He looked a little disappointed. There wasn't much for them to do but wait for the medical examiner and the CSIs from the town HQ and watch Judy take down information from Frank's crew, since she was the only cop there who could speak Spanish. So the other cops made themselves useful sealing off a wide area around the scene in both ends of the street and keeping neighbors attracted by the sirens and lights well out of the way. While watching the cops in action, I noticed a white van pull up at the end of the taped-off street. It was Ernesto. The cops eyed me as I walked over to the van, but didn't interfere. Hey, Sam, what the hell is going on? He asked in English, heavily inflected with his Colombian accent. Victor Bollings, the owner. Somebody smashed him over the head. Ernesto's eyes widened. You're kidding. Is he all right? Dead. The cops are interviewing everyone on the job. You might as well get it over with. Sure. I led him through the crime scene defenders and over to where Judy was talking to a slight guy in a blue hoodie, one of the day laborers, judging by the caked mud on his boots and gloved hands. He was explaining that he always left his wallet at home so he wouldn't lose it at work. Judy acted like she believed him, but told him he'd have to go get it after they were done with the initial interviews. She told him she couldn't care less about his status. She just wanted his help in figuring out what had happened there. He didn't look convinced. I introduced her to Ernesto. How's your English? She asked him. It's good. Ask Sam. She asked him where he was before arriving at the site, and he said picking up material at the lumber yard. It's on Frank's account, he said. They can show you. She nodded, thanked him, and then asked if he could identify two other guys who said they were part of his operation. He pointed them out and confirmed their names. We were interrupted by the arrival of the paramedics, lights on the ambulance like a disco. She went over and explained the situation. She knew they had to make their own declaration, but said to please get in and out without contaminating the scene. It was a friendly enough exchange, though no love seemed lost between the first responders. Not long after the paramedics left, the CSIs showed up in their black box van. The cop with the beer belly approached the van with great purpose, and Judy sighed. I caught her eyes and smiled at her. I know, she said, before following him over to the van.